Down and dirty. Yay. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. Hooray! Yes, I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching after the fact. Thank you, Anne, for joining me in person. Yay, I'm so grateful. I've been noticing all of this excitement lately because there is evidence of awakening. There seems to be evidence of awakening, even in the illusion. That starts to play out because the awakening is in the mind and we're of one mind. So, a lot of people are waiting for the rest of the world to wake up or waiting to see evidence of awakening. And the thing is, the evidence of awakening comes as a result of awakening. So it's like, and where there's self-doubt, where there's also self-doubt, there could be a lot of progress that's been made, but the self-doubt will hold the illusion in place until there's willingness to release that. See, basically you chose this, and that's good news. It's really, really good news. You know why? Because you can unchoose it. And what's even more awesome than that is that the choosing of it, the deciding for this illusion, was way more difficult because it came out of fear and guilt. It was a arduous journey to make it how you wanted to see it, because you had to deny yourself. That's a choice you made to deny yourself. And, it's still not like an easy choice to make because it hurts. It's just that you numbed yourself to stop noticing that making that choice hurts. You may have already unnumbed yourself a bunch and you know that it hurts. Like for instance, when you say something like, I'm on a fixed income, how does that feel? Right? Well, all the evidence shows that I'm on a fixed income. It's like holding ourselves to what we think it is. All the evidence shows that I'm going to die because everyone else is dying. All the evidence shows that having an aged body or a sick body is inevitable because other people are showing that. Don't believe the evidence that your eyes, your body's eyes, those aren't even your eyes, not even real eyes. They're interpreting the evidence that you wanted to see. Okay. So it's like, you don't want to have a perception of healing yet. Otherwise you would. If you're not getting that perception, it's like, you don't want to have that perception yet. And if you have it and you don't realize this is what I want, whatever I have is what I want, if you don't realize that whatever I have is what I want, that's disempowerment, like self-disempowerment. Whatever you have is given you for your benefit and you want it so much. You want it until you can see through it. You want it until you can laugh about it. Until it purifies your mind of the guilty concept that makes it as if you can get anything you don't want. I mean, that's not true. That's dreaming. The sense like you're disappointed. I love that one. I don't even believe that I'm disappointed anymore. It's like I just get a sense that I'm disappointed and I'm glad about it. Disappointment. Oh, I'm glad about that. That's going to teach something. It's going to show me something. If I let it, unless I believe in the disappointment. See, that's where it goes round and round. Like, say you went out and you went out for a really nice dinner and you knew it was going to be pretty expensive, but you go, okay, it's going to be worth it because the food's going to be really good. Okay. So then that justifies the amount of money that you're spending for it, which relatively is more than other restaurants. Maybe about 3 times more than regular nice restaurant. So say you go out and you're like, okay, you see the price on the menu. Okay, well, that's more than I expected, but I think it's going to be really good. So the food comes. Yay, Leah, thank you for joining. The food comes and you get this sense of disappointment. Wow, it's like this green that they put with the steak is rubbery and not really able to chew it. And then the steak, it's okay, but actually, like at my house, I could cook a better steak than that. Actually, I might even have a better quality meat. I'm not sure. And the lobster's freaking good. I mean, I've never had a lobster that I didn't like. And this lobster was the skinniest fucking lobster I've ever seen. Okay, say that happens to you. Or you think it happened to you, because nothing happens really. Say you think that happened to you. So then you get a sense of disappointment. Also, you think the amount of the money that you spent on the dinner is meaningful, like you could have made a better choice. Okay. That's the guilty concept coming into play. That's where you're not, if you're going to believe that, and look, you're making a choice from moment to moment. So it's like, doesn't matter how much you've believed it up to that point. If you're going to continue to believe that, you are hurting yourself. And that's what you need to know. And really, that's all you need to know. The observing, your power is in the observing. That's really the action. So it's like, you know that you're hurting yourself and you're watching that play out, that thing's going to burn out. You're just going to get tired of hurting yourself because it fucking hurts. And you're aware where that pain is coming from. See? So what you're looking for in the sense of disappointment is a gift. Instead of these thoughts, you're not looking to justify thoughts. It hurts. Oh, maybe I should have made a better choice. Oh, what might another one be? Now I have indigestion. It wasn't even that good. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay. So, there is a playful way to experience that. And the way it is for me is it's just funny. Okay, it's just funny. The meal comes and it's like, oh, and I'm joking around with my friends. And I'm like the next night she's like, "Are you hungry?" And I go, "Is it going to cost me a couple $100 if I say yes?" It's just fun. It's funny. It's funny when the food comes out, because I'm not attached to getting a specific experience. That's the only difference. I'm not attached to getting a specific experience. I'm totally good with spending a couple $100 and having kind of lackluster food. I'm also really stoked with the thought that tells me, that's a bad thing or the restaurant's bad or anything like that. No, it's just comical. It's like a comedy show. It doesn't really matter to me if I ate some greens that are really yummy. It's like, oh, these are really yummy. Oh, yay, yay, yay. And then you get some greens that aren't really yummy. And it's like, what the fuck are those doing there? But, it's just funny. It's just for fun. It's like, I asked one of them, we got to go out to eat a bunch, it was funny because I was staying at this really nice house, and my friend was house sitting there, and there wasn't a bunch of food that we could just eat that was there. And then my friend forgot, which I don't believe in forget, nothing like that. It's just like part of the story. Um, my friend forgot her groceries at her house that she was going to bring. So it was just like, oh, we'll just, we're easy. I mean, like, we're good with like eating one meal a day. Like, we're doing stuff anyway. They're like having yoga, we're in a jacuzzi, we're like chilling out. We don't need to like spend a bunch of time eating. So, so we're like, oh, well, we'll just do one meal a day. So, at one point I was asking it at one of the restaurants because they told me they use this same Italian flour. It's really fine dining, like totally like, a taco's like $26, right? It's like really like they definitely got the prices for fine dining anyways. So I'm like, oh, you guys are fine dining. Oh, you got that Tipo 000 flour. So if I order the fish taco, then will you guys make the tortilla for me, or did you guys buy those tortillas? And so he's like, I don't know. And I go, oh, will you check on that? Because I like to eat the good flour. And so he comes back and he tells me his head's hung. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He's like, I'm like, they're store bought, aren't they? That's awesome. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's totally good. It's fun. And my friend too, it's like, yeah, that's fun. It's like, we're like, do you have any dressings that aren't made with canola oil by any chance? And he's like, oh, I'm sure we do. And I go, oh, will you go check? So he comes back. He's like, actually, we only have one like that. And I go, oh, yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, they're here to make a profit. And the guy's like, I blame him. It's just like it's just playful. It's nothing to get disappointed about. In fact, my friend Chitta and I were talking like a month or so ago about Freedom Cafe, and that came up again. It's kind of like inspiring for me, stuff like this, because it's like this Freedom Cafe idea with really good ingredients, no canola oil. Everybody, like a lot of us are like, yeah, the canola oil, that's not really like known as like something that's beneficial or whatever. None of it really matters. And at the same time, it's like there's information that is believed, that's automatically believed in the field. And there's also the underlying what the intent is. Like if the intent is to make a product, it's like that kind of energy has a certain hook too. So it's got a certain, like it's almost like it's got tentacles or certain hook. Not that I'm saying that anything outside of you could affect you at all. It's all your mind interplaying. It's kind of like what's interesting to you. What feels in alignment for you. And like for me, like if I'm eating canola oil, I don't give a shit. I'm just not going out looking for it. I'm not like, going, hey, give me that fucking canola oil. I don't really care. It's not like, oh, I can't touch that because it has canola oil in it or something like that. And then also it's just joy to point out, hey, I know you guys are making an illusion of fine dining here. Like you're making an illusion within the illusion of fine dining, because that doesn't really jive with fine dining. Like chefs know canola oil isn't fine dining. Okay. Chefs know that buying tortillas is not fine dining. So it's like, it's kind of like fun. It's fine dining. What does that mean? It's not like, oh, they shouldn't do it. Oh, this is shitty. It's great. For one, if you're dealing with disappointment, like if you were attached to how the experience should go, then you're in suffering. So if there's any kind of projection about that and you're following it, you end up thinking about it a lot and suffering over it. Okay. So paying attention to that and using disappointment for what it's meant to be used for, you'll start to see that disappointment won't mean anything to you. For me, I didn't even get a sense of disappointment at all because I just didn't mind how it went. Like, oh no, like who cares? Like, who cares if I even get the illusion of eating right now? You know, maybe I won't like anything on the plate. That'll be fucking awesome. Maybe I won't like anything in the whole restaurant. It'll be amazing. You can't get satisfaction in the world. So there's this sense that there's this ego sense that if you pay enough, then you should be entitled to satisfaction. And if a person charged you in a way where they were kind of promising that you would get that satisfaction because the prices would warrant that or whatever. They're just playing with you. They're just kidding. They don't have to do anything. I mean, if you start asking at those fine dining restaurants where you're paying, like the lobster was about, I don't know, I think it was $100. And it was like this. And it was just funny. It was like, oh. Good stuff. So, don't you just love being disappointed now? Don't you feel like you just can't wait to be disappointed again and saying no, she doesn't love it. Yes, you love it. Yeah, yeah, you love it. You guys love it. It's pointing to something. Okay. That you're disappointed within yourself and you need to work that out. So it's hidden until it's revealed. And as an emotion that you can sense, it's being revealed. Okay. It's not in the manifestation. You don't need to learn how to eat out better. You're doing perfect. Yeah. The experience you have is for awakening the mind. It's never for filling your belly. It's never for getting the right nutrients. It's never for getting your money's worth. The experience that you seem to be having is for the experience alone. Okay. So anything that your mind was attached to as far as getting something out of it was only to bring that up, only to bring up that feeling. And the feelings come and they pass really fast. It's just that there's this holding on to them that makes them seem to last a lot longer. And the holding on to them only has to do with feeding the thought. So you're feeding the thought of disappointment and then feeding the thought of, that wasn't even good. Maybe I could have stayed home and, I don't know, ate some of those people's protein powders that they had all over the house. Maybe I could have just stayed home and ate some powdered food. No, you couldn't have, because it couldn't have gone another way. So that's a trick already. The thought that it could have gone another way. I could have made a different choice. You couldn't have made a different choice. The last video we did, I believe, was called Choice and Choicelessness. And, and knowing that you cannot make a different choice as far as what you're going to perceive in the world, like what choices you make between all the multitude of things all over the world. See? So I was at a spot on the island known as the Four Seasons. And I guess that's a really ritzy spot, right? So it's fun. Just like vacation, some people that live there, and you don't see very many people. That's kind of fun. It's just really nice and relaxing. Aloha, you guys come for wisdom dialogue? What are you doing?
Did?
Oh, come on in. Come in this door over here if you want.
Which door is this?
This one right here.
I see.
Yay, you guys are here. Thank
me.
you. Oh, you're here. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for being here.
I'm not a we today.
Oh, you're not a we today. Yay. Mm-hmm.
Sorry for being timely.
Yeah. So what I notice is there's a certain expectation on how people are supposed to act in this kind of vibe. I was just sharing that I was spending some time in the this weekend in what's it called, Four Seasons area, Hualalai. Okay, so I was actually staying in a really nice home in Four Seasons, 5 bedroom, pool view, awesome sunsets, all that kind of stuff. And I was sharing that there weren't very many people there. When we would go out and see people, there was like this expected way to be. For one, it's like everyone's wearing a mask, right? So everyone's wearing a mask, like that's the expected way to be. Okay. My friend and I were not wearing a mask. My friend was, before we would get up there, she would say something like, maybe I'll just put my mask on. So like I could skate by because she has her mask on, like, and and so we'd get up there and she each time she didn't have her mask on yet, by the time we got up there. And I would say, I would just speak for us because I feel good and comfortable with my mouth being out. And I just ask for a table or something, and they just bring us to the table. And at one of them, my friend hadn't put her mask on yet, and the person asked us for masks, and I go, "Oh, we both have health exemption." And he goes, "Oh, great!" Like he was just glad he didn't have to endorse it. Wonderful. So there's like this expected, and I notice when you eat too, like there's this way that it's supposed to go, and it's like, oh no, that's okay, we'll keep this thing. And just noticing how people are conditioned to live through these expectations, is not really taking note to what do I prefer. Yeah. Actually like to keep the menu around so I could check it out a little. I know it doesn't go along with the whole, you know, thing. Or I like to take my salad after. It's like just getting it, it might sound like that, like this stuff isn't really that big of a deal to you guys. But the thing is, the mind gets used to being in patterns. So if you're not automatically asking like, what, before I agree to this, what does it feel like? How does it feel? Because just something like that it's opening and awakening to the mind because you're coming out of a pattern. It's not about getting what you want, but you always do have a preference, and you can just check in with that. And then you'll also find that you seem to be getting what you want more often. But more importantly, when you seem to not get what you want, you're grateful instead of angry because you don't know what you want. You really don't. And whatever you get is exactly what you want. So when you're open to, okay, let me see what it is that the preference is, but then there's no attachment to it. So you know that what you get is always what you want. From time to time, you get the perception that what you got is not what you want. And in that, there's gratitude, because anytime you get the perception that you got something that you don't want, that's a learning opportunity. It's an opportunity to see more and more that you do want whatever you got. And it's an opportunity to have more gratitude and compassion. That's what's awakening. See? So it's like, yes, I will honor the preference, but don't attach to it. See? So it's like it's kind of like people are a little bit dazed. It's almost like, reminds me of someone got hit in the head. Ow. And really, and it's like and it's kind of like they're dazed, like in a cartoon where there's like those stars coming out of their head. And they just don't know. They don't know why they're upset. They don't know what they're really upset about. People quarrel all the time. They get into quarrels with each other because they don't realize why they're upset. Um it's like you go toward friendships, or you could say you manifest these friendships and other relationships, whatever dynamic it is, just so that you could play out your inner conflict. And that's really what they're for, until the shift happens in your mind, where you go, wait a second, I don't want to use them for conflict anymore. I don't want to use my relationship for conflict. And you find out if you're using your relationship for conflict, You're quarreling with someone. Or you feel like they're too much or not enough, or they shouldn't be there, or they shouldn't be doing this to you, or they should be doing this to you. They should be doing more of that to you. See, so that's a sense that love, that's getting a sense that love is lacking. And the reason it's a benefit is because it's never true. They're always giving you exactly what you need, and you're getting an opportunity to open up to that. So you could just be grateful for whatever it is and have no quarreling in your relationships. And it's funny. It's like someone will put out an energy. Friend was telling me a story about this recently. Someone will put out an energy like, hey, you fucking did this. How dare you, like on a text, like someone randomly like get a text. Hey, you fucker, you fucking did this to me. How dare you fucking do that to me? I'm like, you know what? That kind of text doesn't need a response. Or if it does get a response, it's like, thanks for letting me know. That's fucking awesome. Good to know. And the thing is, if someone's having that kind of energy, what's attracting you to it? Notice how you can't even help it. How dare you fucking say that stuff to me? I was right there for you all the time, or whatever your defenses are. You're not going to get into the defenses if you know that it's meaningless. It's just, oh, thank you. But if it triggers something in you, which it most often will, if someone's saying that to you, is as often because you need that trigger. But at some point, someone can say something to you, and you just feel completely relaxed with it, even if they're bringing up something that you could have an argument for. You're kind of like, what's the value in arguing? Let me just say thank you for letting me know that's how you feel. And then you can feel them, and that you can feel them. It's like a genuine thank you. It's like, wow, we definitely feel each other. Our minds are not separate at all. We feel each other. People refer to that as empathy, and some people think they have more empathy than other people, and you don't. So you can stop stroking yourself about that. we just feel each other, and there may be covering up that we feel each other, where it seems like, oh, I don't feel that person at all, or whatever. There may be the covering up about that, but the feeling that we share, we're always reacting to the feelings that we share. We're constantly reacting to them, whether we know about them, whether we think we feel them or not. We're always just reacting to that. And that's really like the whole thing that's playing out. It's patterned. We're reacting to patterns. And it's like, we can keep on doing this forever, or we can make an effort to kind of pop out of these patterns. And, and one really big way to make an effort to pop out of the patterns is to just acknowledge that you're never upset for the reason you think. You're never disappointed for having an expensive ass mediocre meal. You're never disappointed about that. Okay, there's no restaurant, there's no meal, there's no money, there's nothing like that. It's just you interacting with your sense of self. And you don't like it. You're disappointed in that fucker. So it's in noticing when you're really disappointed with your sense of self. It's ignorance, you guys. It's total ignorance. Whenever it seems like something outside of yourself has done something to you, that's ignorance. And when you're recognizing that's ignorance, that's wisdom. That's all. See? And in the moment, it's not easy to recognize that it is ignorance, because it's a hook. So it's not easy. That's okay. It's simple. You keep looking in that direction. Eventually, it's just going to click for you. Everyone's going to get this. Guaranteed. It's required. What kind of God would that be if he or she made people, created people, to just go to their doom. Huh? You know, this is not something that's created. Aloha, Jessica in Colorado. Yay, Maria and Cynthia. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Ah, sometimes it's just going, it's just like, wow, because that's my mind. So when I perceive any ignorance, I know it's mine. Like, wow, it seems like there's so much. Wow, it seems like there's so much to see through. And then at the same time, there's no such thing as time, and you're only given exactly what you can use right now to help undo the mind. And it's a shared mind. Everyone's going to be super happy about this. And anyone who practices this, who's willing to undo what we made, willing to help undo what we made, everyone is so freaking grateful for you. And that's what I noticed too. My last wisdom dialogues in person was called A Taste of Heaven, right? And so I shared about this kind of like visceral, sort of like orgasmic, not sexual though, but orgasmic, like I don't know, have a better word for that. But it's just like almost like something was released from within, from the core, and went out and energized everything, kind of like a juicy buzzing thing that just went out and energized everything. And you know, I was sitting with that. It's like, wow, you know, I wasn't like getting revved up for anything like that. I wasn't like preparing or anything. But it's just that willingness that keeps on releasing tension. So underneath that tension, and by the way, that sense has been with me the whole time, you know. And as soon as I slow down even more, like right now I'm talking and I can sense it. It just kind of like, it's almost like it's emanating some kind of buzzing, flowery, I don't even know how to describe it, but really light, like everything's really light. It feels like everything's vibrating right through the whole energy field, and there's nothing dense there. And you know, just getting that sense of, it's just, all it is releasing mental patterns. It's just a release. See, so it's getting these senses like something's wrong, and willingness to see through it. So the sense of nothing, the sense that something's wrong, once it's released, it gives you this like a visceral sense of release, visceral sense of relaxation. And you know, through that, you just get more in touch with actually who you are. That's why I called it A Taste of Heaven, because that's what my mom called it. She said, oh, that you got a taste of heaven. That is wonderful. And you know, and that kind of thing too. It's a sign of the times, you can say. And this is a awakening. Each one of us is having a subjective experience. So we're having a dream of awakening. We're all in different stages of that dream. We're all in different stages of that dream of awakening, but we're all having a dream of awakening. It's our own dream. It's a dark and evil dream, and we made it up. So we're awakening through it, each of us. So it's so funny. And you know, what my mom was pointing out is that, you know, once you start having that taste of heaven, it's a sign that heaven is near. Does that mean that that this world will be seen through in this lifetime? I don't know, but I know that in the scope of things, it is definitely short in time. You know, and the scope of thing is definitely short in time because of the lightness. Because you know, it's like you can't, it's the density, it's the gripping to the patterns that projects time outwards. And so that really shortens time when you're relaxed enough that you can sense that life force, kind of orgasmic. Okay, again, it's non-sexual, But that's included too. It's not like your sexual organs aren't included as a part of your body. But the reason I keep on saying non-sexual is because what I noticed is the draw is to, or the hook is to, when you're starting to get that sense, is to apply to it a sexual kind of energy and bring in fantasy. And that will only stop it from progressing. It's kind of like saying, I don't want to go that far. I want to keep it at fantasy level. I want to keep it at fantasy level. Okay, so then it's only going to get to like as good as your fantasy is, which isn't really that good. And it always has an opposite. So, so, so it's like a matter of relaxing into the sensation when, you know, like when you feel that, that spirit, it's like spirit ecstasy, to be relaxing into the sensation without, and don't judge yourself if you find yourself applying sexual fantasy to it. You can't help it. It's okay. You're going to get many more opportunities. All that means is you're going to get more opportunities. That's all. It just takes a little longer. So all, all I'm talking about here is like gentle effort when it's appealing to you. How many times do you have to see it play out before it's appealing to you? Depends on how aware and also gentle you're willing to be with yourself. Because if you're pushing yourself a bunch, you're going to get into the self-doubt, shame thing. I'm not worthy bullshit. Okay. And then that just keeps you stuck, or in a perception that you're stuck. No one's ever stuck because they're making more shit up. So I'll just keep you in a perception that you're stuck if you go for those kind of self-doubt. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. Anytime you get the perception that anyone else is doing it better than you are, think of it like this. They are you at a different point in time. Everyone is. Everyone that you perceive, they are you at a different point in time. There's no difference between us. We've all been playing out these lifetimes in the scope of times, in the scope of time, millions of lifetime. And, a lot of us have played all of the parts. It's like millions of times over and over and over and over again, just so that there can be this emotional, mental healing. So it doesn't matter. Take it easy. Just in noticing, just in willingness to see, I'm not upset for the reason I think. My upset came before I made the world. I made myself upset before I made the world. I actually made the world because I made myself upset. It was to try to project that upset feeling. The sense of guilt isn't tolerable to a sane mind. And your mind is sane. Your mind is sane. You temporarily follow an insane thought, not in reality. Your mind hasn't lost sanity. That's why you're the one who has to make the choice to not keep on feeding energy to insane thoughts. Okay, none of those thoughts are even your thoughts. You just give them energy when you follow them and make them into reality. Make them into your reality. So anything that you make into your reality, it is your reality, because your mind is that strong to make it into an illusion. And you believe in it so much that it becomes your reality. I mean, there's no argument about it. It's like, if that's your reality, you believe it, and you're going to act as if it is that way. Like when I have friends tell me, this world isn't an illusion. Look, it's real. Look, this is real. What's an illusion is the way you interpret it. And, here's the thing. If we're taking the world, like the material world, to be a reality, that's like saying, I don't want my reality, because you cannot be aware of your reality. Let's say you can only be aware of your reality in as much as you're willing to deny reality to the world you made. Only as much as you're willing to deny reality to the world you made. That doesn't mean you still might go about in the world, acting like it's real, as far as, like when you get in your car and the way you open your door and the way you drive and whatever, you got to make a right and yield and all whatever through life. Okay. All these apparent rules. It's just that you're not allowing any of them to disturb your peace. See, if nothing in this world is real and it's all coming from your mind, it cannot disturb your peace. It's not going to be possible to be at peace with it if you think certain things are real. How could you be at peace with murder? How? If it's real. So you have to be really willing to see that it's not real, that you actually made it up before you can actually be at peace with it. You could say you're at peace with child molesting, for instance. You could say you're at peace with it, but you're not going to be at peace with it until you see that you made it up and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. If it happened, you cannot forgive it. You can say you forgave it, and the world's kind of forgiveness is like, oh, I'm better than them. I'm better than them. I wouldn't do that. But you know what? I'm so good that I forgive you for doing that. You say you forgive, but you don't really forgive because you still think it happened. This is the blessing, and this is a miracle. This is a miracle that ends the illusion of perceiving anything where someone harms another person. Even this is a miracle to get the perception that it didn't happen. It's like clear vision. Okay. You actually know that you dreamt it. You only dreamt it. And you can't know that by wishing to know that. You can only know that by going through your upset feelings. That's the only way to realize that. So, if you don't want to realize that, which there's a lot of defenses built up in your mind against that, you're not going to go through your upset feeling. You're going to take that upset feeling and project it, which is okay, fine. That's what we've been doing. That's a game we've been playing this whole time. And it seems like the reasonable thing to do. And it's what all the people are doing. Condemn these bad things, condemn these bad acts, and then forgive. How can you? You cannot condemn and forgive at the same time. Here's another thing. Anything that you project is projected onto your mind, which is manifest as a body. So you can say anything you project is projected onto your body. So your body's neutral. It's not good or bad. It's not anything. It's just playing out your projections. So if you're projecting condemnation, that's going to your body. You're projecting greed, that's going to the body. You're projecting guilt, body. Okay. Also, if you're allowing love, body, that's the healing. You're just allowing it. And it is like allowing love where it seems like love is impossible, because your idea of love is impossible. Your idea of love is, I can love. Okay. I got my family. I got my spouse. I got my kids. Oh, I love them. That person over there, like for instance, maybe Bill Gates or something, that guy's an asshole. I hate him. That's a sign. You don't know what love is. You just don't know, because love is one, and it's impossible to withhold love from one aspect of yourself and not withhold love, period. That's just what it is. So here it's learning what love is. So your mind is learning through this illusion what love is, because your mind has convinced itself that love is lost and is just put veils over it, forgetfulness. Okay. And it's like, you already know this, but you've gone down this path of forgetfulness that it's like you have to learn it. So even the learning is an illusion. That's why it's a dream of awakening. Okay. Even the learning about it is an illusion. You're guaranteed to learn it. Notice the resistance to learning it. Notice the resistance. Like, wait, I need to keep my condemnation. If I don't keep my condemnation, something's going to go awry. If I don't hold on to that, something's going to go wrong. Holy shit, if I'm not mad at child molesters, my daughter could get molested. right? That's the reasonable, worldly way of looking at stuff like that. And, my experience has actually been the opposite of that. When people are worried about it, they seem to unwittingly find themselves in a situation where they're like, how the fuck did that happen? Because it's fear playing out. It's just fear playing out. When you know that it's all manifesting from your mind, you're not holding on to any kind of fear. Oh, I love you. Have a beautiful night's sleep, Coda. Thank you. Um, and it's just playing out in your mind how terrible this is. And the thing is, as long as you take anything to be real and happening in a world that's outside of you, you can't be at peace. Your mind's going to be restless. It's going to be looking for safety, and that's what you see in the world projection. Everyone's looking for safety. How can we get our safety? How can we protect our bodies? See, it's the perceived need to protect these bodies in the first place that makes them vulnerable. See, the bodies only manifest as if they are vulnerable because we believe in that. So it's like when you look at, okay, the mind is all powerful, then why would I be worried about a body? Why would I even be worried about it? People get these things like, this isn't good for you. This isn't good for you. This isn't good for me. None of that stuff means anything. The people will get into these funks and go, oh, I hear people go, I'll be all right. I'll be way better once I just get back to my fasting. It's like, that shit doesn't mean anything. What happens is you go over to this sense that you're fasting, which you don't even have a choice in. But your guilty concept is playing out this way, where you think that if you're fasting, you're going to feel better. So then you get this sense that you're fasting. Maybe you're going the first day and you're like, okay, good. Okay, I'm getting better. All you're doing is stuffing down your guilt with this sense like you're fasting. You're not fasting. There's no difference between fasting or eating. You're not fasting and you're not eating. You're not doing anything. There's nothing to do. So you're getting a perception of your fasting. So now you're using that to stuff down some guilt. Just watch that. It's like it's covering it up. I'll just cover this up with this. I'm not saying it's bad to fast. It's fine. I can't help it. Again, it's not good or bad. If you think that it's making you feel better about yourself, that's the illusion. It's not making you feel better about yourself. You're making it as if you're less guilty if you find yourself doing that. So then you get a sense that you feel better because you're getting some relief from guilt, but you're using a temporary means. This is an ego means to get release from guilt. You're using a temporary means for it. So you could use that even the sense like, oh, thank goodness I'm fasting. Now I don't feel so guilty. And it's like, and just like, look at that. Go, why do I need to fast in order to feel less guilty? It's for the same reason someone feels like they need to go run 10 miles after eating a Thanksgiving dinner the night before. Not really doing anything. It's just clearing up this sense of guilt for temporary, and it's going to come back again in another form. Maybe it will come back again and again and again. Could come back in the same form, could come back in different forms. You don't know. What is for sure is that whenever you project guilt, it's coming back. Okay. Oh, I love you too. Oh, I love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you. So, isn't that so relaxing? I mean, really, you're not doing anything in the world. You're not going anywhere. You're not eating anything. You're not exercising or anything. You've never been capable of doing anything in the world. All you're doing is you're making a choice. You're making a choice between this world and your reality. You're making a choice between tension and relaxation. See, it's the same thing. You're making a choice between truth and illusion. You're making a choice between love and fear. You're making a choice between laughter and tears. See, you notice all the crying and shit? You notice all that bullshit? You know the stuff they say about menopause? That's a funny fucking thing. Because, people told me, I'll just wait till you go through menopause. Just wait. You know what? I don't know what it means, like go through menopause means, but I know I haven't had a period in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. So that could be a thing. I don't know. And where is that menopause state? Where is that menopause state? It's not possible because it's mind. Okay. That's bullshit. We made it up. Postpartum. When you know it's the mind, none of this stuff can get you. One friend said the doctors said she actually has brain damage, and that's why she's so fucked up. And she goes, oh, she's kind of like, oh, thank goodness, I got a reason why I'm so fucked up. Now I can get everyone off my back telling me I'm supposed to be better. And she tells me about that. I go, you got nothing wrong with your fucking brain. Get out of there. She's She's like, Hope, you're telling me there's nothing wrong with my brain. They're actually like showing me like there is something wrong with my brain. And I'm like, you know what? If you go down that path, you're going to be fucking pissed. You're not going to like it. Okay. Just forget about that. There's nothing wrong with your brain. And, it's been like 3 or 4 years or something like that. And she just got off that whole train. So I'm off of that train. There's nothing, and so then she can start to see, and it's for you to see that there's nothing wrong. All the things that you made up about being wrong, they're nothing wrong. My daughter calls me last night. She's like, Mom, I'm so scared. And I go, really? What are you scared of? And she's like, I'm scared of death. And I go, there isn't any death. There's no death. And she goes, I don't know that. I'm not sure of that. I'm like, well, what do you think? You're just going to like disappear, like, and never, like not be a thing anymore. How's that possible? So we just talked a little bit. And then by the end of it, she's laughing. It's like she just knows it's not possible. It's not possible for you to die. I mean, that would be very much justified if you could die to be afraid of death. That would be very much justified. But you can't. And the thing is, it's a relief. It's actually a relief. Maybe the fear leading up to that moment, if there's fear involved, leading up to that moment isn't a relief. That's like, whatever. Maybe you're falling off a building. Who knows? But at the time that there's the death and the illusion happens, the illusory death happens. It's a huge relief. It's like, oh, thank goodness that wasn't real. Everyone's right here. This is great. No one even went anywhere. No one even looked the way I made them. No one was anything like nothing was anything like I was making it out. It's like, oh, thank goodness. And I told her relayed a story that my mom relayed to me of her aunt, when her aunt was passing away, and she was like on the machines, and the machine she flatlined, and basically she was considered dead. And then she like popped back into her body, just like a jolt. She just popped that back into her body, and her eyes like opened up, and she's like, shit, I'm here. What am I doing back here? and then she goes, and then she looked at my mom and she goes, don't ever be afraid of this. Don't ever be afraid of death. There is nothing to be afraid of here. And then she like went back in, and my mom was just like, holy shit. And I shared that again with my daughter because she forgets about that. It's like convenient to just forget and then go back into being afraid of death. So the fear of death will get you physical symptoms. Okay. So this is what goes on with my daughter. She'll get these physical symptoms, and it seems like there's something really wrong with her, right? Like, she needs to, she's thinking emergency room status with the symptoms, right? And she has done that before. She sees where it gets her. I think she realizes that doesn't really go anywhere good, but she has done that before. And once she gets the relief, it's like the symptoms, as long as you allow yourself to have the relief, those symptoms are going away. It's almost like they're being worn down. It's almost like they're being worn down with awareness. There's no thing in the world that changes the symptoms. It's only awareness, because the symptoms are a manifestation of mind. Anything that you perceive in the world, it does not have a cause outside of your own mind. So whenever you think you're perceiving, or you are perceiving symptoms, and you apply the truth, you're allowing healing to happen. You're undoing the cause of why you perceive symptoms. So you're not like looking at the symptoms going, oh, I hope these symptoms go away. I'm trying to get rid of these symptoms. The major symptom is the fear. And so you're being relieved of fear. And then in that, symptoms can't say. I mean, a mind that doesn't have any guilt, that's been purified of the guilty self-concept, cannot suffer at all in any way. So even if there is a perception of any kind of sickness, there's gratitude for that. There's just no suffering. Okay. So it doesn't mean that it's bad to suffer. You should try not to suffer. It's saying use your suffering to undo the cause of suffering. Use your suffering. And, if I've heard it said, like, work out your own salvation or work through your suffering. You cannot work through your suffering while you're blaming it on something that seems to be the reasonable cause in the world. Listening as you shower. I'm so happy. It's fun to join you, and be sure to wash underneath your balls, okay? I always like to say that to dudes. I don't know. It's just funny. I guess it could be a place that gets missed. Seems to be a fold there. So, that means you can't do anything to yourself. Like you can't, let's say, drink too much. Like if you wake up and you feel like you have a hangover, it's not because you drank too much. Watch how it kind of blows your mind when you just put that thought in. Nope, it's not. I'm not going to agree to that it's from drinking last night. I'm not agreeing to that. It's a guilty self-concept. It's not drinking. Now, in the illusion, it'll usually set up something as the cause so that you can think, either you did it to yourself or someone else did it to you. Look, you didn't do it to yourself in the physical sense either. That's just playing out. That's just playing out how you relate to that self-concept. You didn't do anything to yourself. You didn't get anything wrong. You didn't fail to stop smoking, for instance. I heard someone say, yeah, this guy died of lung cancer. Of course, he smoked for 50 years. And I go, well, be careful with that thought, because that's self-condemnation. It's saying that if someone smokes, then they will get lung cancer. That's not how it is. If you look for it, you'll find plenty of people who never smoked who seem to have lung cancer too. For one, another thing is the illusion is meant to make it seem like you can harm yourself, because that's what you wanted. You wanted an illusion that would make it seem like you could harm yourself, and that's what you got. So to undo that, to demonstrate to the mind that you don't want that anymore, you take the illusion of it and you say, no, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that I can harm myself. I don't buy into the idea that I could drink too much alcohol and give myself a hangover, for instance. I don't buy into that idea anymore. No, thank you. It's like, hey, do you accept this as the cause? Or let's go to, you're driving around and someone runs a red light and smashed your car, and it's a projection as if they shouldn't have been drinking and driving, for instance. It might be difficult, but the truth is that you put them there, not as a choice that you made in the perceptual sense, as a perceiver, not in that way, but you put them right there based on how you perceive yourself and how you want to perceive the world. Everything is perfectly in place. You didn't leave your house at the wrong time that day. You didn't fail to do anything. You were meant to have that interaction and have that experience for awakening the mind. So it was perfect. It's almost like, oh, thank you. Thank goodness you were drunk and you were driving and you did that. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for showing up just like you agreed to do. It's more like that because it's a journey in thought. And whenever we meet, we're meeting along our individualized journeys, but we're only one mind. We're only the same one. So we're meeting each other along our individualized journey, and each meeting is a divine meeting, even if it comes in the form of a car accident. Even if it comes in the form of a beating. One of my friends was telling me a story about how her dude was hanging out and he comes out all bloody. They're hanging out and he comes out around the corner all bloody. She's like, what the heck? He just had to like beat someone's ass because he came out and attacked him, you know? And it's just like that too. It's the same thing as a divine meeting. It's like nothing went wrong, even if it looks like that and it's all bloody, it comes out all bloody. It's like, look for the gratitude and you'll find it. Ask if you can I be grateful for this? Sometimes it just takes some permission. It's always so heartening when someone will tell me something and I'll be like, oh, thank goodness. And they'll be like, yeah, I didn't think about being grateful for it. I thought about trying to change it. I tried to work on my manifesting skills because that thing that I manifest didn't seem like what I wanted to manifest. But I didn't consider just being grateful for it. It's amazing. It's kind of like the last thing from our mind when it seems like someone's doing something we don't want them to do. But I'll tell you, the first experience I got, it was such a mundane thing too. It was Amazon.com. All of a sudden, it looked like someone took our brand name and they were selling our stuff for way cheaper. And we sure as shit didn't sell it to them. So we're like wondering, where did this come from? So, and it just happened to be time for me to take a shower, which is like one of my favorite things because I seem to get a lot of downloads in the shower. I don't know what it has to do with the water or what, but it is like, it's time for a shower. So I'm in the shower and it comes to me, can I just be grateful for this person that seems to be ripping off our company name and like it's on Amazon? Can I? And I just got the biggest relief to where like I didn't even mind. I was like, thank you. And then the ego will throw out all the scenarios like you're losing your business, you're going broke, and it's all because your name was stolen and they just started doing your and just like going on. Like, can't I just be grateful for this? Can I be grateful for this person? Can I be grateful for all of this that's going on? And it was just revealed to me, yes. And it was such a relief. It was like, so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about invulnerability. You're not vulnerable to being angered or upset or afraid because of anything that seems to be occurring on the surface, whether it's a physical symptom, whether it seems like someone's taking your business away. That is really what it is. That is the invulnerability that shows you, it demonstrates to your mind that you are not subject to anything in this world. You are not less powerful. In fact, you are having dominion over everything that arises in the world. So you're basically demonstrating that to your mind over and over again until the guilty concept is no more. And you'll know the guilty concept is no more because you won't even get a trigger. Now, you know, don't deny when you get a trigger. That's a common thing. You want so bad to be there. You guys, I love it. I love my triggers. I love it. You know, I'm not in a hurry to purify the mind because it's a beautiful, mysterious awakening. And I don't know who, let's say, you know, my pupils are. Everyone's got their pupils because it's like we all go in the dream ahead of other people who need temporarily need guidance. And, you know, you can't even help it. It's just like that's just played through you. It's like all of that is coming, and it's like it's this beautiful unfolding where this it's an awakening, and you're awakening with your friends. That's what's really wonderful. It's like the gift of awareness is such that everyone who is to be your pupils in this awakening process, it's all an illusion. It's not real, no reality to it. They're going with you, they're awakening with you. You're bringing thousands of people and more with you than you even know. So it's like it's like everyone is going before you. Everyone is going awake in the awakening dream before you, meaning they're getting all of the compassion and forgiveness because it is your mind. They're representing your mind. So it's like no one's holding you back. You're not waiting on anyone. You're not waiting for anyone. Each one that's assigned to you, it's sort of like they're assigned to you because it's not, that doesn't change. Your pupils in this are your pupils. And the thing about your pupils too is that they're only your pupils because you can learn from them. It might seem like you're teaching them, and it really they're your pupils because you're learning with them and you're learning from them, and you're only able to teach them in, because remember, you're teaching them in your dream. You're only able to teach them in as much as you're willing to learn from them. So there's no good lesson unless the teacher is willing to learn from the experience. So it's not as if like one has something to give the other that the other doesn't already have. Because it's one mind, that teaching, learning thing, it goes back and forth, and it's all in the perception. So we only dream of ourselves at different levels. There's no different levels. Each one of us is having an individualized awakening through a nightmare that we made. And you know, it's funny because some people go, I don't want to see it like that. I don't want to see it as a nightmare. And I'm like, okay, you can call a journey through time that has sickness, conflict, and death, anything you like. I don't mind, you know, assign to it anything that you like. And I'll tell you, anything that you get a perception of the world, of in the world, that's beautiful to you, that's a reflection of who you are. Whenever you get a perception of anything that's antagonistic to you, that's just a reflection of what you are not. So it's like, keep whatever you want about that. If you want to make that thing that's antagonistic to you real, I'll tell you, death is antagonistic to you. Sickness is antagonistic to you. But if you don't make them real, then they get used. And in order to not make them real, it's just exactly what I'm talking about. Get the feeling, notice the feeling. And I know this, it takes a little bit to sink in. Get the feeling and don't justify it by feeding thoughts. You are not upset for the reason you think. Likely, if you're feeling really satisfied and good, you're not feeling satisfied and good for the reason you think either. Okay? Oh, I'm feeling really satisfied and good because I had my yoga this morning, for instance. No, that's not it. But if you believe that that's it, you know what's going to happen or seem to happen? You're going to get a perception that you didn't do yoga and feel like shit. Isn't that fun? you use the perception that you had yoga to give yourself permission to feel better. That's what you do. Okay. It seems to have a certain effect. Yay, Carla, I love you. And same thing, like some of us, like for instance, last night I got the sense like, oh, it seems like I could use some probiotics. I know those don't fucking do anything. For some reason, I can get an illusion using them as if they do something. All I do is just acknowledge that. It's easy. It's not like I have to monitor my actions. I'm monitoring my mind. Am I giving truth to illusions? Of course, like, I go back and I wash my hands with water because, I noticed that water seems to get my hands clean. It doesn't really. It doesn't. It doesn't do anything. My mind's doing that. Still, I'm not washing my hands with what? Shit. Because that doesn't get my hands clean. Gets them stinky. Apparently, it actually doesn't do anything either. So all we're doing is acknowledging through these things we put attachments on, right? Like we're relying on something to do something. We put attachments on them. And no, I'm making that illusion. You take all the power back to the mind. No, I'm making that illusion. Okay. And the most compelling demonstrations that you make, though, are those ones that you make with an upset feeling. That's why I talk about that a lot, because those are the most compelling demonstrations that you make when you get an upset feeling because of the intensity. Okay. Because of the intensity and projecting like that, like something can do something to you that makes you vulnerable, that projects attack onto the body. Then the body's going to have symptoms. The mind's going to have symptoms like conflict and stuff like that. So the main thing is be on the lookout and look, you get upset feelings all day long. That's just how it is. They just come. It's like a wave. And, last time I noticed an upset feeling was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It could have been the day before yesterday, but I was just standing in my friend's or in that mansiony type house I was staying in. Everything was beautiful. There was not anything like seemed like it was out of place or anything. All of a sudden, an upset feeling comes. It's like a really bad feeling, just like really like, I was like, whoa. And then, and then it gets really psychedelic, which I love, and that's what it is. It's like a psychedelic trip, one of those bad feelings, it gets really psychedelic. And it's almost like I could hear the shaman, the shaman speaking to me, breathe, take your medicine and breathe. I'm like, okay, and it becomes really light and playful, even though there's this thing. And it's like, okay, take your medicine, pay attention. It's not, nothing's wrong. And, and for me, I don't allow my mind to go out and look for something that's wrong, because it'll find something. Anytime you get an upset feeling, why I'm upset? Oh, you want to know? Because of this, you fucker. Oh, you want to know why you're upset? Okay, here's the reason. There you go. Being upset has no reasonable cause. Okay. It can't come from anything except self-attack. And and even the cause of self-attack, it's not justified. And it's not really doing anything. It's giving you a sense of a temporary feeling. So even the attacks that you make on your body and stuff like that, it's still not anything. It's not anything, because the body passes, you wake up, you're still in a dream. That's the thing. When you wake up from this life, as in, the body perishes, and that kind of waking up from the life, which is this cyclical thing, keeps on going over and over and over again. You're not awakened from the dream. You're still dreaming that you're guilty. It's just that you don't have a body. It's a huge relief, but still your mind can't tolerate the guilty feeling or the guilty sense of itself, and it will project another body. It doesn't even take very much time. It's like you go in joyfully, because when you get the relief, when you get the relief, it's such a relief. You don't have the heaviness of this body sense, like the sense of the body, especially the normal sense of a body. I get a much lighter sense of the body than the average person gets of a sense of just a sense of a body, like as far as the density and stuff, but just any sense of a body is going to be way heavier than a mind without a body. A mind that's not projecting a body. It's just like going to be, you just don't have that sensory heaviness perception. So your mind is like so much more free, but still there's the thought that you separated yourself from heaven. Okay. So you're still not seeing heaven. And so that's why there's a projection. So this life is for awakening. What any material kind life, you can't do that without a body. So you're projecting a body. And so it's like any moment that you get in this material life, I'm telling you, this is a nightmarish dream. And at the same time, I'm saying everything in it is like glorious because of what it's for. So your gratitude starts to go to it, and it starts to reflect back to you that it actually is here serving you. But first, you're willing to see how this serves me. How is this serving me? When I was a little kid, I had the sense that everything and everyone was doing everything for me. They're doing it all for me. I had this sense. And I kind of like let myself go into that for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, they're doing it all for me. But then that wasn't the thinking that I was meant to be conditioned with. So I forgot about that for a while. Then I realized, oh my goodness, that was such an amazing insight as a little kid that Leah said, me too. That was such an amazing insight as a little kid, because that is the truth of the matter. Everyone is doing everything for you. It's like they're all conspiring to wake you up, but they're all doing it because they care about you, even if they seem to do anything mean. And then that's why it's always gratitude. So remember, Leah, when you got that sense that there was this one doctor that didn't want to give you some medicine so you can get recovered from COVID. Just saying recovered from COVID cracks me up. Sorry about that. It's such a joke. So then there's this sense like, oh gosh, this doctor, man, he's such an asshole. He's such a bad guy. He's not going to give me the fucking medicine. And it's like, hey, you know what? If he's not giving you the medicine, he's serving you. You do not need that medicine. The ego is going to say he's killing me. And he may think he wants to kill you because he thinks you're an asshole. But the thing is, he's still serving you. He can't even help it. You didn't need that. That's how it goes. You can only get what you need. You can't get anything less or anything more. So it's like, oh, thank you for serving me in that way. Oh man, I just got a sense that you want to kill me. And now she's like, yeah, I totally did not need that medicine. But in the moment, it's like, man, he knows I need that medicine. And if I don't get that medicine, man, I could die. And I was like, well, that's a good perception to play with. She's like, yeah, that's a good one. You do not want to think about an attack. Yeah. You do not want to think about yourself, what you thought you were thinking about him, right? You do not want that thought. Would not want to keep that thought to yourself. Like there's such an angry projection. How dare he, and it's just like, the thing is, the whole reason in his mind that he's doing it is because you deserve punishment. When you're not going to be punished, that whole thing goes away. You're not going to be punished by it. I was so upset about it now. Yeah. And how do you feel about it now? Right. And how do you feel about it now? You probably noticed that was really nothing to be upset about at all. And then once you have that vision, you're more prepared. Yeah, totally fine. You're more prepared for the next time that comes around where you get that kind of perception like, wow, how dare they? Gosh, don't they have any ethics? They're a doctor, for Christ's sake. Aren't they supposed to be saving people? Yeah, they just saved your ass. You didn't get the medicine that you didn't need. And I just don't have a question about it in my mind, and that's the thing. People will say, well, Hope, look, I got the evidence right here, like this is what I go. I don't care what you have, kind of evidence you have to present to me, because all the evidence came from a mind that wants to make itself separate. These are illusions, and they're immediately transformable, but you have to be willing to allow them to be healed. And there's no willingness. Where there's no willingness, they'll never be healed. One term that we use, and this is what makes me laugh about recover from COVID. For one thing, there's no fucking COVID. There's no such thing as this. We make this kind of thing up. This is an attack, even a virus. There's not such thing as a virus. And there's different schools of thoughts on what a virus is and how it does and all that. It's kind of different shit. And you can get involved in that all you want. But basically, a mind is making illusions that these bodies are vulnerable because the mind keeps on making itself vulnerable. It's all the mind can do. So when you say you're going to recover, or you want to recover, what you're saying is you want to cover that shame and guilt back up. These words that we made up, they're like, they kind of show where our mind is at, even in the way they're, how our mind dwells. I want to recover from illness. We put these things in there. So we put these things in place where we can kind of see how we're making them up. There's all kinds of words like that. You'll see how we're making it up with these, a lot of it with these words, to use it as yeah, you really had that virus, and now you're recovering from the virus. We need to do this to make this illusion true. We need to keep on doing. Okay, everyone play along. So that's why, I'm kind of like with my friends, come on, you guys, stop pretending. Stop it. That's why, playfully with Leia, like, I'm not mad at her. I don't get mad at her or anything, but, playfully, she's over there like, John dying of COVID, and I'm laughing at her. I'm like, you're faking it. You're just faking that. It's not really possible for you to get a sick body, and it's like, there's this sense like, oh my God, am I going to need to go to the hospital? Am I going to die? And all this other stuff. And it's like, no, you're not going to have any of those perceptions unless you need to have the perceptions. And you could see yourself driving yourself down a fearful trail. I'm good at faking myself out. You are, because I got to tell you, from my perspective, you look like you were fucking faking it, but you had yourself fooled. You had yourself completely convinced that you had COVID. But from my perspective, yeah, I'm like, okay. It was fun. And I don't get pissed at my friends for pretending like they have a sickness. I just love them up. I mean, it's not easy to pretend like you have a sickness. That's hard. There's a hard perception to have, and like, you're putting yourself through something, and like, you need some love up time. Basically, you need some love. You don't need any medicine. That love is the medicine. You can take medicine too. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do anything to you. And when you get attached to the medicine, like, here's one scenario that I noticed. It's so freaking funny. There's there's kind of like two sides of this whole COVID thing, right? And it's like, oh, well, if I get the COVID, I know exactly, and I've seen these posts on Facebook. They're hilarious. I know exactly how I'm going to get out of the COVID. I'm going to take ivermectin, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And, I don't need a fuck your vaccine. I don't need any of that shit. I'm just going to take all this shit. Those seem to be the ones that shit doesn't work. The ones that seem to work for, their friend just kind of like, they're like, oh yeah, it seems like I got these symptoms, and their friends just like slides them some ivermectin or something. And they're like, oh yeah, that took care of it. It's all gone. But then, someone who's like preaching the ivermectin story, they go and do it, it doesn't work. It's the best. Illusion are the best. Leia took 20 days of ivermectin, did not fucking work for her at all. Wasn't that so perfect though? Aren't you so glad? Because you know what? If it worked, all it would be doing was feeding your illusion, because you had so much invested into it. And to be able to get the perception, oh my gosh, it's not working. And to get the sense like, oh my God, what if I die? And all the people like some people telling you to go to the hospital and stuff like that. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me come over. I mean, I'm just really grateful that you like let me into your bed when you seem to be feeling.
Yes, in case you get thirsty.
Oh, honey, thank you. We just got a bunch of coconut water delivered to us.
It's a variety.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Leia. So thank you. Just to be able to come over and also to be able to come over and also she allowed me to share so freely. I said, Leia, you're faking it, and she's like, wasn't like, get the fuck out of here, Hope. You can't be here telling me I'm faking it. Nothing worked and it was scary. And you helped me take it a bit lighter. Yeah, that's all you really need. That's all you ever need. Like when my daughter called me and she's freaking out of physical symptoms and scared and stuff, she got to the point where she's laughing and I'm like, okay, you're good. That's what you need. You just need it. You need lightness. And, that's the scariest thing for people. It's like, lightening up. It's like, what's going to become of me if I just lighten up here? What's going to become of me if I just let this thing be light for me? Like it's going to do something to you. And, once they get that sense of lightness, I'm like, oh, you're okay. You're fine. You're okay. In fact, as soon as they call me, I know I'm like, well, I know you're totally okay. And why is that? Because you called me. Because if you didn't call me, that would mean that you don't want any relief from your delusion. If you come on Wisdom Dialogues and you say, I'm sick, you want relief from your delusion. That's obvious. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying that here. You're not really looking for people to agree with you. When you say it on Facebook, you're looking for people to agree with you and to kind of strengthen that illusion for you. Oh God, you're sick? Tell me all about your symptoms every day. That's what Leia's experience was every day. What's happening today? You got to tell me. I'm comparing symptoms so I can pretend like I know where I am in the illusion. My brother's texting me. I haven't heard back from your friend Lana. Lana, get on it. Come on. Yes, I'll do it. Okay. Okay, that just popped in there. All right. If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm winding down. I think I'm winding down. We'll see. Oh, we got a hand. Or you can, you don't have to raise your hand. If you're not on Zoom, you can type something. And if you're on Zoom, you can also type something. Or you can raise your hand like Yulia just did. Aloha, Yulia. If you're in person, you can just wave at me.
Aloha, Hope. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Awesome. Because I'm driving.
All right. Thanks for driving and talking with me.
I know I have to because every Monday night I'm on my way from a dance class. Anyway, so I was just like thinking this is perfect, the perfect topic today, because my whole family seems to be falling ill, not with COVID, but anyway, like one person got a bunch of symptoms, then another one, everybody has a cold. And I'm like, oh my God, I guess it's going to be my turn. Today.
Oh, that's great. That is a good one. Oh, of course, I'm going down.
Yeah, and I started feeling all these like kind of like maybe symptoms, maybe not. And it's like, wait a minute, but that's impossible. Like that can't be, right?
Yeah. Is it possible that I'm attacking myself right now and I don't know it? Right?
What is it?
Is it possible that I'm attacking myself right now and I
Yeah,
don't know?
yeah. So just like I need to watch this, but then like if I'm gonna start thinking that, oh, this is not real, it's not gonna happen, I have a little bit of that. I'm observing a little bit of that, like, oh, I'm not gonna get sick like them thing, you know?
Yeah, that's different. That's
Yeah,
different.
it's different too.
That's making illusions true. When you're
Uh-huh.
saying I'm not going to get sick like them, they are not sick.
Yeah.
It's impossible for anybody to get sick. They're not sick. Okay. So like when I'm over there jumping in bed with Leia, right? And she's going, oh, Hope, I hope you don't get sick. I'm going, I don't hope I don't get sick. I don't, I know it's impossible for me to get sick. If I get the
Mhm.
perception if I get the perception that I'm sick, I'm grateful for that. So there's no problem here.
Yeah, the perception could still occur. That's all.
That's right.
But
There's just no
I think
problem here. There's no
it's just a
problem
really,
here because
really
sickness is
interesting
there.
moment, I think, like to be, I guess, aware or something that, wow, this can't be real, but who knows? It's just in the perception. Whatever it is, it's all there.
Yeah, like say you get a scratchy throat or something, you start feeling the symptom of a scratchy throat, automatically your mind's associating that with something. So you break that association by just applying reason to it. Notice when your mind associates that sick feeling with something in your perception, that's a very disempowered feeling because now you could be made sick by people around you. That's scary as fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
So notice that upset feeling and you need relief from that thought. That is what's sick, is that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
plenty to play with in the perception because we have been conditioned to be so delusional. Every other thought, maybe more than every other thought, is delusional. And it requires to prop this world up in our view as if we're looking at a world here. We have to be believing these insane thoughts over and over and over again. That's why there's so many of them and they're coming very fast and we're automatically believing in them all the time. And so, these ones that are on the tip of the awareness, the ones that you can see when you're demonstrating to your mind that they're not true, that's giving a lot of relief. It's going all the way across timelines and everything with this relief until we start to see it more and more. So just pay attention to these little things where we make ourselves guilty by pretending like, oh my gosh, we're next, even preparing to get sick because we believe that since we've been around a sick person, we're going to get sick. So, I'm like cruising through the farmer's market last weekend and someone comes up to me and they're like, oh my God, you are fucking cracking me up. I can't believe you. You haven't come down with any COVID yet, have you? And I said, not that I know of. I haven't been aware of any kind of symptoms ever since the beginning of COVID. Ever since I knew the word COVID, haven't had any kind of symptoms. And you're jumping in bed and going around sick people. And I said, well, there's no sick people, but in the perception, yes, it looks like I'm all around sick people, loving them up, everything like that. And they're like, whoa, that is just really weird. And I go, actually, it's natural. It's really natural. I think we forgot that whenever someone would get any cold or flu, we would kind of like gather around them and give them some good energy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right. Like, that's all. Oh, that person thinks they're not feeling well. They need love. They need compassion. Let's all gather around them and touch them. Let's put our hands on them. Not let's put a mask on and get 6 feet away. How do we get to this? It's hilarious.
Let's just give them everything in the house that's supposed to help and bring them more from the store. That's my story usually.
Yeah, let's go to the pharmacy and load up. And let's give them a bunch of comfort food.
Yeah, comfort food and vitamins and medications and everything you can throw at it, like throw stuff at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started noticing, do I feel something? And then I think I'm getting tired. I think I'm getting sleepy. I think my mind is getting fuzzy. And I felt like I'm starting falling into it. And then like, wait a minute, but I don't need to be falling into it, or
no, you elect that. You see,
yeah.
Are you starting to see how it's an election to do it? It's almost like you do the sickness because you do it in the way you're observing things.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing it. I remember from mainland days, man, people would get a symptom. I was one of them, and just go, I'm going down. And you do go down. You fucking go down.
Yeah. I'm at that moment, like, oh,
And it's
okay,
like,
all of them are sick.
ah,
This one, then this one, then the next this way, then today 2 of them. Oh, I think I'm getting it.
yeah. And oh my goodness, my friend was telling me like her mom gets so excited whenever, she calls her up. She's like, I'm not feeling good. The mom calls her friend up. I'm not feeling good. And my friend's like, oh, and she's like, I'm feeling like this and this and this. Didn't you say you were feeling like that? And no, well, I was feeling like this. Oh, that's how such and such is feeling. It's like, it's so exciting to point out like how we're passing all these symptoms around. And it's not true.
Yeah. That's happening in my house. It's like, oh, I'm having this. Oh, me too. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you don't really have to do anything because the doing is in the observation. So when you're just observing that all of this bouncing back and forth with all these symptoms, it's just self-attack. When you're just observing that, you're not giving any value to it. So it's like we've got these delusionary dreams that we agreed to pretend together, right? So you're one of the ones in that whole dynamic that agreed to pretend with them. When you change your mind and you're not pretending anymore, just all you have to do is demonstrate it to your own mind. You don't have to try to like convince anyone else or anything, but just being there with your awareness, seeing it truly. You're willing to see it truly. You're loosening the illusion for everyone, whether they think they want that or not. They actually do want it. It's in everyone's best interest to wake up. It really is. They actually want that. So just in your observing and noticing that whatever symptoms they seem to be passing around and believing in it, and you're noticing that that's an illusion without you even saying anything, it's healing.
Beautiful.
Because remember, my favorite quote from A Course in Miracles, the miracle establishes that you dream a dream and none of its content is true. Okay?
The miracle establishes that you're having a dream and none of its content is
none of it's true. So you're not buying into the story about things being contagious because you know that's not possible. So with your energy, you're not buying into it. That means that you're perceiving, you're getting a true perception. More light is coming through. It's like almost like light is coming through your eyes, let's say, because it's the way you're perceiving it. It's like the light of awareness, and it wears away that darkness. It's kind of just like a fog. So it seems to occur slowly up over time, but you can like smile to yourself that this is healing and keep going in that direction. And you'll start to see over time, the manifestation will change too.
Yeah. And I guess it's like, gotta steer away from that. Oh, I'm not gonna get sick.
That's it. Because why would you be attached either way?
Exactly.
It's not that I'm not going to get sick. I'm not capable of getting sick. If I get a misperception that I'm sick, fine. I get misperceptions all fucking day long. That's just
normal. It's true.
But there's no way someone's passing it to me. That's the part that's completely insane. Because we know that we can't perceive anything that doesn't come from us. So we got to just stop playing around and messing around with pretending that it comes from outside ourselves. That's how we're going to see through this thing. And when I say we, I mean me, because there's only one of us.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to do anything.
You have an awesome concept out there.
All right, everyone. I love you. Thank you. Oh, by the way, if you're watching right now, listening right now, whatever, and you love Miracle Botanicals, and it's still Monday. What day is it? November 29th. There's a 20% off sale until midnight Hawaii time. Okay, just so you know. It goes until midnight. Yeah, tonight. So you don't have that many more hours, but it's a pretty good sale. Those don't come around that often. You might enjoy it. Oh, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I started doing wisdom bits on Instagram. They're just like 5 minutes or something. I'm probably going to be doing that 2 or 3 times a week. I already did numbers 1 and 2. So that's really fun. Also, I have my recordings from the in-person. You can find my recordings from in-person on hopejohnson.org/wisdom dialogues, or look at the wisdom dialogues tab there. If you would like to join me live for one of these, same place. Oops, I mute myself. No, I don't want to mute myself. Same place, hopejohnson.org. Go to the Wisdom Dialogues tab. You can get to the podcasts, which are the ones I do in person. You can get to the videos that are on YouTube. That's these videos. I also go live on Facebook with these. And then the Instagram, I think the feed's on there, or it will be. Or find me on Instagram, Awesome Hope Johnson, at Awesome Hope Johnson Instagram. Okay. That's about it. Thank you for donating. I really appreciate that too. I do make expenditures for doing wisdom dialogue, so it's always really appreciated, and definitely any kind of love that you give is always any form of love, or whatever you could say, always so much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and thank you for practicing. Yay, I love you. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.